We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, individually, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome and thank you, everyone, for coming. Before we get into the official agenda, normally we have name tags up here. We don't this evening because Jennifer's, I think, on her way to Jamaica. Good for her. So I thought we'd maybe start on the left and just introduce ourselves so that everybody knows who we are, both here and on television.
Joe Ritz.
Lane Vines.
Martin Heldring.
Jeff Handon.
And Phil R.
And for those of you who need reminding, Joe, Jeff, and Phil are new to the committee. Phil being, of course, the commissioner who serves on the committee. And Lane and I have been serving for 3 or 4 years now, something like that. Okay. The first order of business on the agenda is a reorganization. The first item under that is the election of chairman. Just a point of clarification, I've been serving as chairman for the past year or so. Do we have a nomination for a chairman for the next year?
Yeah, nominate Martin to continue.
I second the nomination.
All in favor?
Aye.
I shouldn't vote for myself, but second item on the agenda is election of vice chairman. As a point of clarification, Lane has been serving as vice chairman for the past year and a half, and I nominate him to serve as vice chairman for the next year.
Second that.
All in favor? Any?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Next on the agenda is public comment, as with commissioner meetings. Oh, I'm sorry, Secretary. Yes, Bob Zinkowski has kindly agreed to act as secretary for this meeting for us. Thank you, and thank you for reminding me. Public comment, as is the case with all commissioner meetings, we're opening up for public comment. We ask that everyone who wishes to speak limit themselves to 5 minutes. And with that, would anybody like to make public comment?
Dan Shurey, Wayne.
Hi, Dan.
Hello. First, just a little bit of a backdrop. The agenda that's here tonight says at the top, revised. And the change appears to be limited to item number 3. Now, yesterday, I emailed all of the commissioners, and I asked them, does anybody have any information as to what this meeting tonight is about? Because here's how it read. Acceptance of request for ethics review. That's it. And as you might know, there's virtually nobody in the room here tonight, with the notable exception of John Rice. You see him behind me, Mr. Heldring? He's sitting back there?
I do.
Yeah, okay. He's actually recused himself, if tonight is involving Lane Paul Schaefer, and yet he's in the room. Do you know that he's recused himself?
I do.
Okay. But somebody is paying for him to be here tonight on a matter he's recused from. Do you understand that?
Well, I'm not sure this is an issue you should raise with me. If you want to raise it with the Board of Commissioners, that's fine, but...
Well, maybe I do want to raise it with you.
Okay.
Maybe I'll figure out what I want to raise with you. But I know this. He has recused. Okay. Here's something else I know. When this board meets, it's required to have an attorney by the code, as well as the township manager. You know that, don't you, Mr. Heldring?
Well, why don't you just continue with your comments? It's not, I don't want to engage in a dialogue here. We'll go on forever.
No, it won't. I'll limit it to 5 minutes. I
Okay.
promise. Do you know that you're supposed to have the township manager and the township solicitor, or if not him, his replacement, when you meet as the ethics board? I picked up a slight nod of the head, but do you understand that? Radio silence. By the way, is this meeting being televised?
It is.
It is. Okay. We will answer that question. We won't answer, however, whether or not we know that when this ethics board meets, it is required by the charter to have the township manager and the attorney. Maybe I'll direct the question to Commissioner R, because he said I could ask a commissioner. Commissioner R, are you aware as to whether or not this board is required when it does its work, to have both the township manager and the solicitor. Are you aware of that provision?
I think we could get your comments, and I'm looking up for the exact language right now, as a matter of fact, so we should get it.
Would you like me to read it for you? Would
If you
that
wish.
help you?
If you wish.
39.7, Ethics Board. Subsection B. The membership of the Ethics Board shall be 4 Radnor citizen members and the President of the Board of Commissioners. By the way, the President of the Board of Commissioners is not up here, right? You're not the President, are you, Commissioner R? Not anymore, right? The Township Manager and Township Solicitor shall provide necessary staff assistance as requested by the Board, but shall have no vote. Now, there's nothing at all in 39.7B that suggests that that is somehow waivable or optional, or do it if you think it's appropriate. You're required to have them, but you don't have them. And how do I know that you don't have them? Well, because the Board of Commissioners has addressed this issue. They've been trying to name the person who will be in the stead of John Rice for a while now. In fact, Commissioner R., you've been voting on that. It basically breaks down among party lines, as I recollect. But you don't have that attorney. So that makes me very interested as to why tonight this board is convening, since they don't have an attorney, and whether or not this board received any advice that they could do so. So I'll ask that direct question. Who informed this board that it should convene without an attorney as mandated in 39.7? Did nobody give that advice? Nobody wants to answer that. So, we have an agenda that comes out last week. It doesn't state what's this board's meeting about. And now we have the board meeting tonight, and the only attorney that I see associated with local government in the room, John Rice, is the guy who recused. This seems strange. And no one wants to comment on it, or at least answer a very specific question: who advised, or whom?
You're at 4.5 minutes. Maybe we get your point. There is
You're not answering.
There is not an attorney here. We are moving forward without one. If you'd like to suggest that's a good or bad idea, you're more than welcome to do that.
What do you mean, who suggested? Who permitted you to do it? Do you believe, Mr. Heldring, that you can simply ignore portions of the governing language set forth in 39.7? If so, what else is optional? Blink, blink, shuffle papers. Okay. To use my last 15 seconds, this board, in the past 2 years, 2.5 years, has reviewed 3 complaints involving 3 separate commissioners. First one, Bill Spingler, currently, if news reports are to be believed, working a plea deal out for allegedly molesting a 103-year-old. Dropped. No probable cause, something this board does not have the power to do. Second one, Jim Higgins, allegations of harassment and trespassing from a local veterinarian. A 1.5 years later, Jim Higgins resigns in disgrace from the presidency of the Board of Commissioners because of a surreptitious $1 million line item. Dropped. No probable cause. Finally, John Nagel, somebody shoot you outburst on videotape. This board, in a similar fashion, meets in the basement, no cameras on, unclear agenda, no probable cause. I hope that whomever ultimately advises the board will remind this board that this is, in the words of John Rice, not a judge, not quasi-judicial, not prosecution, fact-finding body. Please take that seriously. Please don't expand beyond that duty. And more importantly, please don't think that it's appropriate to look at language in Radnor's charter or code and declare it to yourselves to be optional. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Any other public comment?
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Arthur Thomas Donato. Except for about 1.5 years, I'm a lifelong resident of Radnor Township, and I'm attorney for Commissioner Schaefer. I did not intend to engage in any public comment, but I respectfully disagree with the previous speaker. the way 39-7B reads is that the membership of the Ethics Board shall be 4 Radnor citizen members and the President of the Board of Commissioners, period. The Township Manager and Township Solicitor shall provide necessary staff assistance as requested by the Board. If the Board does not request that assistance, then there's no requirement that you have that assistance. So respectfully, to suggest that there's some mandate in the code that you cannot operate without the township manager or the solicitor, with all due respect to the previous speaker, is erroneous. Thank you for hearing my point of view.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I have to say I agree with your assessment of the code. And just for transparency and a point of clarification, this board did have the services of an attorney in its previous 3 cases. The Board of Commissioners took a view that he was too expensive and wanted to choose another attorney. They have been unable to do so for the past 6 months. We have requested an attorney twice. At this point, the committee weighed the options of continuing to wait ad infinitum or dealing with the complaint. And we voted unanimously to deal with the complaint, and that's what we're doing. And we feel comfortable doing so without an attorney. So with that, the next order on the agenda, next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the request for the ethics review. It involves the complaint of Commissioner Booker against Commissioner Schaefer. It's dated September 26th. Normally we do deal with these within 90 days. We did not because of the attorney issue, but we're going ahead now. Do I have a motion to accept the review?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
That brings the official part of this meeting to a close. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.